Have you ever felt like a leaf drifting through life's currents? On the outside, you smile, you work, you post cheerful photos on social media. But inside, there's an emptiness. No direction. No peace. You don't know who you are, or why you're so exhausted. I lived through many days like that. And then, something small changed everything. I paused. I became silent. And I began to return inward. That's when I encountered the Dharma, not as a belief system, but as a light. A homecoming. A homecoming. A deeply compassionate journey of healing. Part 1, Suffering, the Seed of Awakening. We often only begin to change when the pain becomes unbearable. When everything we once took pride in, career, relationships, achievements, can no longer fill the void inside. I used to chase success. I thought that if I earned a high salary, had an ideal family, gained status, I would be happy. But the more I achieved, the emptier I felt. I lived in a constant state of anxiety. I feared losing what I had. I constantly compared myself to others and never felt enough. I didn't realize that the true source of suffering wasn't my circumstances, but my own mind. One night, sitting alone in a dark room, tears suddenly fell. For no particular reason. I just knew. I didn't want to live like this anymore. That was the moment I began searching for a different path. Part 2, Discovering the Dharma, Light in the Darkness. A friend gave me a small book, Meditation and the Art of Living. On the first page was a sentence, "When your mind is still, the natural world becomes clear." I read slowly. And I cried. For the first time in months, I felt touched, not by comfort, but by truth. A simple, profound truth: I could return to myself. I began to meditate. Every morning, I sat quietly for 10 minutes. At first, my mind was a marketplace, thousands of thoughts, worries, plans, memories. But I kept sitting, kept breathing, kept observing. I also visited a temple. Not to pray, but to listen. A monk said to me, "Don't try to run from suffering. Look into it. Within suffering lies the seed of understanding." From that moment, I began to face myself, the old wounds, the fear of abandonment, the feeling of not being worthy. Part 3, Inner Transformations. 1. I learned to live in the present. Before, I constantly chased a future that hadn't arrived, or was haunted by the past. I was rarely truly present in a meal, a conversation, even in sleep. Through practicing mindfulness, I began to feel each breath. I listened to the sound of the wind, saw the green of the leaves. And I understood, the present moment is all we ever have. 2. I understood impermanence, and stopped trying to control everything. The Buddha taught, all phenomena are impermanent. That used to be just a theory. But when a loved one passed away suddenly, when a seemingly solid relationship fell apart, I deeply understood. Everything changes. Nothing lasts forever. And so, I stopped clinging. I began to cherish what I had. And I let go when it was time to let go. 3. I let go of expectations, and found freedom. I used to expect a lot, that others should understand me, that work should go smoothly, that love should be returned. And when those expectations weren't met, I felt angry, disappointed. But then I understood, suffering arises from attachment. When I let go of expectations, I felt lighter. I loved without binding. I acted without needing praise. I lived, for the sake of life itself, not for approval. Part 4, Buddhism is not just a religion, but a way of life. One thing I'm deeply grateful for is this: the Buddha never asked anyone to blindly believe in him. He simply said, don't believe too quickly. Experience for yourself. Buddhism isn't a rigid belief system. It's a path of wisdom, mindfulness, and compassion. A path anyone, no matter who they are, where they are, can walk if they wish to find inner peace. I still work my same job. I still live in modern society. But now, I live differently. I'm no longer swept away by the current. I have inner space. A spiritual anchor. A light on my darkest days. Part 5, You can start too. You don't need to become a monk. You don't need to memorize all the scriptures. You only need to be willing to return to yourself. Begin with 5 quiet minutes each morning, sitting and breathing. Begin by observing emotions rather than reacting. Begin by practicing gratitude, for even the smallest things. And gradually, you'll see, the world changes. Not because the outside is different, but because you are different. Final part, the light within you. I've walked through darkness. I've hit rock bottom. And I know, without the Dharma, I might still be lost. Buddhism is not an escape. It's a doorway home. A journey back to your whole, sacred self. To a life full of wonder. If you are suffering, exhausted, or lost, please don't despair. There is a path. There is light. And there is transformation, if you're ready to take the first step. Let the Dharma guide you home. Not to some distant place, but to yourself. If this video touches your heart, please leave a comment. I choose to return to myself. And if this message feels meaningful, share this video with someone dear to you. A friend, a loved one, someone silently struggling. Because sometimes, a single sentence at the right moment, can save a soul from falling. Let's walk together, on the path of awakening, mindfulness, and compassion. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha.